Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tim and I'm here today with Johanna from Mother Spell, and her Instagram is at Johanna Maggie. So make sure to check her out and follow her on there. Now today we're going to be looking at some common misalignments in some of the most common postures that we've worked on so far. So how to avoid these common misalignments in your practice to help to keep your hips, your back healthy. And we're going to work on some strengthening techniques and address postures that, again, tend to be misaligned. So to begin today, start off on your back. Easiest way to feel things that we're learning, new things that we're feeling in the body, is on the back, where we take away gravity. So we're going to start off today in Supta Tadasana, and lying down mountain pose. So you'll stretch your legs out along the floor. And then before we get started, just let your hands fall open, let your feet fall open, some more Savasana actually. And just let the body relax and open, just empty. So much of our day is filled with tasks to complete, what to do next. We live in this constant, almost fight or flight, depending on our attitude. So through our yoga practice, we can start to shift that and bring more of a sense of calm into what we do and a greater sense of awareness into what we do, instead of always being in that reactivity mode. So just allow yourself here to relax, to open up, and to empty whatever you're hanging on to, whatever is in your mind from earlier, which you have to do in the future. All right. Take a deep breath into your nose, fill your lungs, and let it out. Okay, now join the legs together. So bring the inner legs together and press out through your feet. Pretend like your feet were up against the wall. Reach through the inner feet, all the toes pointing straight up. And then all four corners of your knees should be pointing straight up to the ceiling when you're doing mountain pose. So it's like the center of the thigh points straight up. As you descend your thigh bones, release them towards the floor, you might feel that your lower back starts to arch too much. So at the same time, elongate through the tip of your tailbone towards your heels, but without tucking your pelvis. The frontal hip bones and the pubic bone should be on the same plane, so I could set a block on them and they'd be even. Okay, now maintaining that, stretch your arms up to the ceiling. And now without your rib cage tipping up to the ceiling at all, slowly let your arms start to fall back. But imagine your rib cage like a pipe and you're trying to aim it straight down to your hips. So you want to be able to maintain a neutral rib cage situation, lower back, pelvis, as you're stretching. Press through the feet again, join the inner borders of the big toes, and then reach through your fingers. Energize the arms, but try not to let the ribs tip up. Let the breath circulate evenly. Are you going back to fight or flight mode to do it? Oh, it's cold. Instead, see if you can go back to the sense of calm intelligence through the body and move energy through the body without straining. That's called doing yoga. That's the difference between like jamming and then doing yoga. Bring your arms back up. Good. And then arms to your side. Now bend your right knee and put your right foot down onto the floor. And then start to open your right knee out to the side. Now, if you don't let your pelvis move at all, you might notice that because you have these things called tendons and ligaments and muscles, the knee won't fall all the way to the floor, maybe, unless you let the hips go with it. So don't let the hips twist. Keep the hips pointing straight up, and you'll feel that the knee kind of has this little space away from the floor. Now that space, that's the same amount that your pelvis is going to turn with you in the standing poses. What does that mean? We'll get there, don't worry. Now raise your arms up again. So this is like lying down tree pose. And then slowly let your arms start to fall back. Don't let the pelvis twist at all. Stretch from the inner legs, from the groins to the inner knees, and just notice your rib cage staying in position. Now as you breathe, breathe into all four sides of your ribs. Imagine you could expand your back ribs and your side ribs. Bring your arms back up, change legs. Stretch the right leg out, bend the left knee out to the side, let it slowly drop, but without your pelvis twisting with it. Your right hip bone will want to raise up. Don't let it. Then raise your arms up. Oh, what'd you do to this hip? And then slowly let your arms start to fall back. As your arms go and reach overhead, again, bring your awareness back into your ribs, tailbone long, and keep your right foot active like mountain. Reach to that right foot, toes pointing straight up. Okay, now it's starting to come along. Bring your arms back up, bring your knee up, and then hug both knees into your chest. Keep your right knee hugged into your chest and stretch your left leg out along the floor. Press through your heel, lengthen. Change legs. Hug your left knee into your chest, stretch your right leg out. Good. Then set both feet down onto the floor, roll over to your side, and come up onto hands and knees. Place your hands right underneath your shoulders. So we'll do a little bit of a review going from this position into downward facing dog. So start to wake up the muscles of your spine. Most of us spend all of our time with the muscles of the spine turned off. We slouch like this when we're sitting, whatever. So just imagine that all of your spinal muscles start to get long to help the whole spine get long from your tailbone to the top of your head. Now, at the same time, spread across the top of your chest and feel your inner upper arms spin forward. Now maintain those actions, spine, inner upper arms, without your middle sinking, keeping the ribs still pointing to the hips. Now curl your toes under, lift your knees 1 inch. You should be able to hold this for 4 minutes. We're gonna do that right now. No, that would be awful. Okay, so just work on elongating your spine in this position. Spread the collarbones. Don't let the ribs sink because that's a spine that's sinking, that's not very long. Now keeping the bend in your knees, start to draw the hips up and away from the wrists. But stay in your arms, keep rotating the inner arms forward. Keep the spread across the collarbones, but imagine I had a strap across your hips, was pulling your hips straight up and back. Good job. Good, pause, breathe, put that little bend in your knees. Keep the lower spine, top of the lower spine long. And keep rotating inner arms to outer arms. Now wake up through the feet, stretch through the toes, lift up from the arches of the feet all the way up into the hip sockets, and then see if you can start to straighten your legs. Now it's early, you haven't done many stretches, so don't expect your hamstrings to lengthen all the way yet. You can just keep the little bend in your knees if you need to. Good job, then set your knees down and slowly stretch back into child's pose. So toes point back, slowly sit back to your heels, but keep the elongation through your spine as you stretch back. Good. Reconnect to your breath. Come back up onto hands and knees. One more time, curl toes under, lift knees just 1 inch. Hold your spine long, breathe. And then slowly start to draw the hips up and back. Stay in the hands, keep rotating the inner armpits forward. Keep the collarbones broad, tops of the blades broad. Notice the places that the spine wants to sink or round. Stay long through those parts. Good, then walk your feet up to the front of your mat. Okay, now straighten your legs all the way and then let the spine start to round. Now when the legs go all the way straight, in the places that you tend to be stiff and weak, the spine will feel like it pops up to the ceiling. So to help with this, I want you to bend your knees pretty significantly until you feel like the whole spine rounds and releases down evenly. The whole spine moving forward and down. Now open up through your feet. Your big toe mound, little toe mound, and center of your heel. And as you reach down through the feet, now imagine you could lift from the middle of your hamstrings up into your sit bones to the ceiling. Keep lifting, lifting, but don't let the spine round up. Let the whole spine release forward and down as you do it. If you can't get the legs all the way straight, no worries. Who cares? You got your whole life to do the rest of it. Just one day at a time with the yoga. One more time, bend your knees. Feel how you can connect better into your feet. Pinky toe, big toe mound, center of your heel. And then again, letting the whole spine release forward and down, slowly start to straighten your legs. So common misconception, people think like, oh, I have to jam my legs straight. If legs aren't straight, nothing's happening. No, no, no. In fact, bending the knees will help you get into the spine better so you can get a more whole body stretch. All right, now slowly roll yourself up to stand. Good. And now just like we were doing on your back, adjust your thighs so all four corners of your knees are pointing straight ahead. Draw the thighs back like how we were releasing them towards the floor, and let the tailbone lengthen towards the heels. Create the back against the laying on the floor feeling again. Let the arms release at your side. Good. Now raise your arms up and overhead. And as you do that, remember how your rib cage wanted to tip when you're on your back? Don't let the rib cage tip up. Then lift the chest up to the hands like it's being pulled up on a string and energize your arms. Turn your triceps forward. Feel the inner arms release into the socket. And then fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, make a flat back. Now again, I want to see that whole spine get long. So let's try it with the knees bent. Bend your knees a little and feel how you can elongate the spine even better. Can you feel all the muscles turn on in your spine? They start to wake up. Then fold forward, Uttanasana. Again, inhale, come up on your fingertips, start to lengthen. Bend your knees as much as you need to if you can feel the feet root and the spine muscles turn on, elongate. Then, one leg at a time, step back into plank pose. Hold in your plank with your chest open. Lower down onto your belly. Point your toes back. Inhale into low cobra. Set your shoulder blades onto your back. Expand across your chest. Spin the inner thighs up towards the ceiling so the knees point straight down again. Then lower your chest down, press up on the hands and knees. Keep your core in as you press up. And stretch back into down dog. Good. Then come into down dog. And walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, make a flat back, lengthen your spine out. Exhale, fold forward. So just allow for that bend in the knees, unless you're like super flexible, like you're like, I'm a classically trained ballet dancer and I don't need to do any bend. Inhale, come all the way up. Then, just do your thing. And exhale, release your arms. Samastiti. Inhale, raise your arms up. So waking up the muscles in the body. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, make a flat back, elongate. Step back one leg at a time. Chest open. Good. Then lower slowly onto your belly. Point your toes back. Inhale into low cobra. Feel your shoulder blades set onto your back. So you have to work your back muscles in this position. Then start to slide your hands back underneath your elbows. Nice. Now, one of the most common misalignments I see in up dog is that people muscle with their arms and they close their chest to come up. Instead, I want you to pretend like you're using just your back muscles like you're a snake and slowly start to roll yourself up a little bit higher without the shoulders turning in at all. Don't use the arms so much. Just use your strong snake muscles. Press the tops of the feet down. Keep rolling through your chest. Don't lead with the chin, lead with the chest. And then lower the chest back down. Then press up on the hands and knees and stretch back to down dog. We should call it snake dog instead of up dog. I don't know. I've written the yoga authorities to get a better understanding of that pose. Okay, I don't know how that's going to go over though. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. Inhale, make a flat back, elongate your spine. Bend the knees to connect into your feet to feel the muscles elongate. Exhale, fold forward. Feel the whole hamstring stretch evenly. All the hamstrings, instead of just locking your knees. Then inhale, come all the way up, raise your arms up. And exhale, bring your hands to your heart. Good. Now inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank. Lower onto your belly with control. Point your toes back. Inhale into low cobra again. Then slide your hands right back under your elbows and come into snake dog. Roll yourself up just halfway, but feel your strong back muscles help to bring you up. Keep turning the outer thighs towards the floor so the knees point straight down. Good. And then lower your chest back down. Lift from your belly, lift up onto hands and knees, and stretch back to down dog. Keep rotating your inner arms. Now step your right foot for warrior two. Step your right foot up by your right thumb. Turn your back heel down and come right up. So you get two different views of this one. One from the back side, one from the front side. Bring your hands onto your hips for a moment and then straighten your right leg. All right, so because your back thigh is angled inward a little bit because of the foot, you allow the pelvis to make that same rotation. This will also allow for the thigh bone to glide in the socket. If you were to try to turn your hips squared off, like Johanna's turning them towards me right now, you could feel that your right thigh feels like it doesn't plug into the socket very well. Versus if you allow the hips to come around a little bit, same amount as the back leg, now it feels like the thigh bone can glide in the socket. I'm not going to make her do this because it's not so good for your hip or your back, but if you want to try to feel what it feels like the wrong way, you could turn your hips totally square and then bend your knee. And it's not very nice. I don't recommend doing it a lot. But it's something that is a very common misconception with the pelvis. Over time, it will burn out your hip and eventually mess up your lower back if you're doing it in triangle. So now you know. Spread your arms out to the side. Good. Now one more time, bring your hands onto your hips. And then keeping your chest open and your spine long, tip from your pelvis out over your right thigh. Keep tipping, tipping, tipping. Keep the chest open and place your hand down on the block on the outside of your foot. Now glance down at your right leg and see if you can turn the thigh from inside out until the center of your ankle, the center of your knee, and the center of your hip are all aligned. Stretch into your back heel, reach the sternum forward, and then take your left arm all the way over your ear. Good. Then as you hold here, reconnect to your breath. So there's effort to open up and to maintain your alignment, but not so much effort to where you're creating more strain in your body. You probably do enough of that in your daily life. You don't need yoga to cause you more strain. Inhale, come back up. And so through this skillful action is what we call our yoga, how we practice yoga. Then we start to learn how we could apply that better to our daily life. Bring your hands back to the mat and step back to downward facing dog. Then step your left foot, warrior two. Okay, now you get to see from the front. So straighten your left leg, stand tall, and allow the pelvis to angle. Yeah, so this would be the wrong way. And you can see this thigh will no longer plug into the socket. She tries to bend the knee. Oh, it's bad for the knee and the lower back. So the hips come around a little bit. They make the same rotation the back foot is made. And then you slowly start to bend the left knee. It was just like when you're on your back, the knee didn't go all the way, so you wouldn't turn your hips all the way that way. And you have to err on the side even a little more because this back foot is turned in. When you're on your back, the toes are pointing straight up to the ceiling. Then from here, hands back to your hips so you could feel the pelvis tip. Keep your chest open and start to tip from the pelvis. Let the hips tip, tip, tip. The left outer hip moves towards your back heel. The right outer hip moves around to help you come over. Then reach your left arm all the way, right arm all the way over your ear. But make sure that your left knee doesn't twist in. Keep it pressed back against your arm. Wake up the spine muscles. Breathe the spine long. All those muscles that want to turn off, eventually what happens is because they get weak and stiff, they just let the discs sink on each other and then the discs burn out. So we can start to make a healthier spine through each of these standing poses by focusing on decompressing, elongating. Good. Come back up to warrior two. Lift from your belly, press to your feet. Then straighten your left leg. Turn your left toes in so your feet are parallel. That way. Good. All right. Then hands on the hips again, and we'll turn the legs to the right for triangle. So left foot turns in a little, right leg turns all the way out. Good. Then tip from your pelvis, and remember your hips, they come around to point towards your right foot a little. Right outer hip moves towards your back heel. Keep your chest open, keep tipping, 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 and then put your hand on the block. Cool. So classically, maybe like in some yoga books, they would say go heel to arch. I err on the side of heel to heel until you start to get more flexible. And then even when you get more flexible, I still err on the side of heel to heel. Okay, take your left arm up to the ceiling now. So allow the feet to be heel to heel. And then imagine that someone had taken you from your right side ribs and pulled you away from your hip. And feel how that helps to wake up the top of the lumbar. Wherever your spine changes directions and curves, it tends to just hang on itself. So as you feel that part of the top of the lumbar where it changes directions, get long through the reach of your side ribs. Pretty good. Okay, now we're going to introduce a balancing pose today. What? Are you ready? Put your left hand on your hip. Bend your right knee. Now you always have permission to just step out of this, not feeling right. But I want you to wake up the spine again, feel it get long, then put your block a foot in front of your pinky toe, feel the spine get long again, and then lean into the block and raise your back leg up. Nice. Feel your right thigh turn from inside out, and your right outer buttock move towards your back heel. Then breathe that spine long like you got pulled from your side ribs again, and take your left arm straight up to the ceiling. Good, then stay connected in your core, maintain your length as you bend your right knee, and can you come right back into triangle now? This is a tricky transition. Do it as smooth as you can. Oh, nice, good. Take your left arm up, complete the pose. Then, as if you're being pulled from your top arm, press to your feet, lift your belly, and come back up. Turn your feet to the other side, hands on your hips. Let the left thigh turn out so the knee points straight ahead, just like the Supta Tadasana leg, and tip from your pelvis out over your leg. Let the outer left hip move towards your back heel, elongate, and reach your right arm up. So it's almost like the feeling like this outer left hip and the left outer back side ribs are reaching away from each other. And that'll help you to connect into the length in your middle. The ability to hold your middle long, that's a strong core. If you're like your middle sinking, getting weird, then the core strength isn't so good in different positions. You could be like rad at crunching, but if you can't hold the spine long, then it's not as functional. Bring your top hand onto your hip, then bend your left knee, look at the floor, but keep the spine long, and then lean into the block. Slide it a foot in front of your pinky toe. Feel how the left hip wants to swing out. Swing it back in. And move it towards your back heel. Now lengthen, lengthen, lengthen from those backside ribs as the left hip moves back. Turn and take your arm up if you're steady. You can just keep the hand on the hip the whole time though. Bend your left knee and as smooth as you can, slide back into triangle pose. Safe. All right, nice slide. Open up in triangle, breathe. And then press to your feet, pull from your top arm, come up. Good. Turn your toes in so your feet are parallel. Then clasp your hands behind your back. Johanna's very flexible in her shoulder girdle, so when she clasps her hands behind the back, see how the front of the shoulder opens? The back muscles start to turn on to open up the chest. Now, if you're tighter in your shoulders, you might take like a strap or a towel or something behind your back if your shoulders roll in when you take your hands behind your back. Then fold forward in between your legs, holding the strap or keeping the hands interlocked. As soon as you feel your shoulders start to roll in on your chest, stop stretching your arms. But if you can start to stretch the hands up towards the ceiling without the shoulders twisting in, then you could do that. I don't know what to say. Then that's good. But we're trying to turn on the back muscles a bit to keep the opening up the chest, armpit chest. Press down even into your feet. Now just for a moment, bend the knees a little. Connect into your feet evenly. Then lift from the middle of the hamstrings up into your sit bones like you're going to slide your sit bones up to the ceiling. Good. Then set your fingertips down. Inhale, flat back. Open your chest. Exhale, walk your hands back and fold deeper. Good. Now for the alignment on this one, for Prasarita A, turn the fingers to point forward and bring them right underneath your elbows. Bend your elbows straight back. Then open up the hand onto the mat as best you can. And as you press down through your index finger knuckle, turn the triceps towards each other and move your inner shoulder blades away from your ears. Then root back down into the index finger knuckle because it wants to lift when you do that. Turn the triceps in and move the inner shoulder blades out of the ears. Then reach back down into your index finger knuckle because it wants to lift again. Inhale, flat back. I'll only do it 2 times because I could just keep saying it over and over again. Strong legs, strong core. Come all the way up to stand now. And then bring your legs together. Step up to the top of your mat. You got it. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. With all this talk about core, let's do a little bit of boat pose. Lower your buttocks down to the floor. Bring your knees up, arms forward. Hold there. So root down into your tailbone, sit bones. Feel energy draw up the spine from the pelvic floor, helping the lower belly to draw in. And then open up through your, the balls of your toes. Do you do a different Pilates? Pointed toes? Okay. If you do Pilates and you want to do pointed toes, it's fine too. All right, now from here, set your hands down at your side and then slowly roll down onto your lower back. Good. Keep that bend in your knees, tabletop position. Feel your low abs turn on to support you. Stretch your arms forward. And then let's just stretch the right leg forward. But as you do, feel your belly draw in on that side. Don't let it follow. Then slowly change legs. Don't let the lower belly follow. Hold the lower belly in like you're getting pinched in towards your belly and up to your heart. Good, then rebend that knee and release. Set your feet down. Open your arms out to the side. Feel the chest and the front of the shoulders open. Then take your feet the width of your mat and let your knees fall over to the right. Just like a pretty basic mellowed out twist. So as you're twisting, as you let your knees fall over, also feel your lumbar be long. And if you want to go deeper into the twist, you could cross your right ankle on the outside of your left knee. But if you feel like that makes your lower back hinge, then that's probably too deep for you just yet. And just keep the feet as they were. Bring your legs back to center now. And then let the knees fall over to the left. And if you went for the deeper variation on the other side, Go ahead and do it again. But keep breathing the lower back long and both hips evenly out of your back as you do it. Feel the right shoulder head release down to the floor. Bring your legs back to center. Good. Then take your feet hip distance apart. Bridge pose. Press down into your heels. Lift your hips up, arms down at your side. Then bend your elbows and point your fingers straight up to the ceiling. Now, super important in your bridge is that you're turning on your back muscles to open up your chest. So feel this upper arm bone reach down, especially here at the top of the shoulder. And as you do that, you'll feel your back muscles turn on to lift and move your shoulder blades in. Make sure that you're not pushing though from the top of the lumbar. Many will just try to jam from there. Chill out at the top of the lumbar, the bottom of the rib cage. Turn your knees so they're pointing straight ahead. The higher you lift, the more glute max will want to take over and spin your thighs out. Don't do that though. Keep the thighs neutral as if you're holding a block in between them. Inner groins, passive, but backs of the legs, intense. Roll the shoulder heads into the floor, press even through your feet, and then slowly lower yourself down. Is this the corniest yoga channel on YouTube? I'd like to see your vote. Comment below if you think it is. Yes, corniest channel on YouTube. I'd like to know what you think. One more time, press down into your feet, lift your hips back up. Roll those shoulder heads down, finish the feet. Don't let the glute max take over. And make sure that you're not overdoing. Even as you're in this intense strengthening pose, still find ease within the effort. Sense of calm where there wouldn't normally be. Then slowly lower yourself down. Then in the midst of the chaos of your life, you're like, oh, I know how to be calm when it's gnarly. Good. Hug your knees into your chest again. And then take happy baby. Reach down to the insides of your knees, grab a hold of the outsides of your feet. Or if you can't get there, you could just take your big toe. It might be a little easier to reach and grab your big toe. Then release that, and let's do Savasana, corpse pose. Stretch your legs out along the floor, like how we started. Let your palms turn up at your side. And let go of the tension in your hands and in your feet. Feel your body start to open up. Let all the muscles soften from head to toe now, just let go. Let your awareness drop deeper inward. Just feel the deeper that you can relax, the more you can root your awareness in. And deep in your inner being, this is where you're most connected to your sense of calm, your natural internal power. It's where your life force energy is. You can feel, you can sense it. So it's when we get pulled up out of the surface and all up in the mind that we tend to lose our connection to this power that's inside of us. And through your practice, you can reconnect to it each day. It's one of the most beautiful things about practicing yoga. How you feel more connected, calm, yet energized after. Really sense that here. Gently bend your knees. Roll over to your right side. Press yourself up to seated. No worries. Join your palms together and sit up tall for a moment. Be grateful for the time you got to practice today, for dedicating your energy to your practice. Namaste. Thank you. All right. Thanks so much for watching today. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button and also leave a comment. Thanks so much to Johanna for coming out today and demonstrating the postures so wonderfully. It's really helpful for me to have someone on the channel, especially Johanna, and I'm grateful to have her. And if you enjoyed watching Johanna, leave a comment below too. I'd like to hear. I just loved having her on the channel. So, I'll see you next time. Hope you're enjoying the challenge, and see you tomorrow. Have a great day.